Okay, so the last problem, it's called NBA players. So create a program that tells the user the stat they desire from one of 5 NBA players. The program should use a dictionary and a class. The stats you should use are in the table below. Most of these stats aren't real. Name this file nba.py. Okay, so I'm going to make the nba.py file, nba.py, and then first I need to make a class, which is basically like your own data type. So class player, and then in here I need to get my init function, which will let me actually create players basically. So init self, and then I need to pass in all of the like parts of the player, I guess. So I'm gonna do fn for first name, ln for last name, pts for points, reb for rebounds, assist for assists, and steal for steal. And then in this function, I'm just going to do self.fn equals fn. I'm just going to do this for all the variables. This is what you do in the init function. Self.ln equals ln, points equals points, rebound equals rebound, assist equals assist, and then self.steal equals steal. So a lot of times when you make classes like this, you want to do them in other files, but for this example, I'm not going to do that. So now I'm going to create the players from the data table that was shown. So I don't feel like typing them, so I just copy them over. So this is just making all of the players here. So James Harden, there's his name, his stats, and it's the same for all the players. So now I'm going to get some input from the user. So I'm going to do player last name, because I want the user to search for it by the last name, equals input, enter a last name of a player, and I'll tell them what players they can do: Harden, Durant, James, Curry, Leonard. Okay. And then I'm going to convert this to lowercase just to make it easier for me. Player last name dot lower. Okay, so now I kind of run into a problem. How am I going to link this last name that the user inputs to these right here? So to this, I'm going to make a dictionary. I'm just going to call it player underscore dict, which is short for dictionary. And then I'm going to use these curly braces here. So I'm going to say Harden. And then this is the key of a dictionary, and then the next one is the value. I'm going to say it's equal to J Harden, or I guess not equal. And then Durant, you need to separate them with commas too, just remember that. Durant to K Durant, James to L James, just L James, and then Curry to S Curry, and then Leonard to K Leonard. So the purpose of this dictionary is just to link the text here to an actual player, which I have here in the data that corresponds to them. So now I'm going to use the get function. So if player dict dot get player last name equals none. So the thing about this dot get method here is if the key that you pass in isn't part of the dictionary up here, then it'll return none. So that basically means that the user didn't enter the right a valid name. So I'm just going to print the name you entered is not valid. Okay, that's good. And then if the name wasn't not valid, that means we know that it is valid. So now I'm going to use the else here to do all the actions I want with the correct last name. So I'm going to say used underscore player. So this is just going to get a variable that I'm going to set equal to one of these depending on what the user enters. Is equal to player dict, and then I'm going to use the square brackets here just to show that there's two ways you can get a value from a key in a dictionary. And then now I'm going to ask the user for a stat. So stat equals input, enter the stat you want to check for, and then I'm going to tell the user which player they entered here. So I'm going to use, so this is how you access, I guess, a piece of data inside a class. So you used player dot the variable that you want. So in this case I want the first name, so since I made first name fn, I'm just going to do use player dot fn, and then I'm going to add a space here, and then I'm going to add their last name so it gives them the full name. Use player dot ln. Okay, and then I'm going to end this here. Okay, and then I'm going to tell them what stats they can look at: points, rebounds, assists, steals. And then I'll close the parentheses and then colon space. Okay, that should be good. I'm just going to run it to check that it looks good. Okay, I'm going to say Curry, and then enter to check for Stephen Curry. Okay, I'm just going to add a space here, no big deal. I need a space here actually. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now we need to actually give the user the stat. So I'm going to convert the stat to lowercase just to get rid of any user errors. So if stat is equal to points, then yep, stats equal to points, print used player dot first name, and then I'm going to put a space again, and then used player dot last name, and here put a space, has, and then now I want to actually get the points that they scored. So first I'm going to put the str function here because I know it has to be a string, and then in here, just like I did with first and last name, I'm going to access the points variable from the used player. Let me think real quick. And then I'm going to add a space after this because I want to put another word, and then I'm going to do stat dot capitalize. So the stat that it's capitalized like it is here because we converted it to lower earlier. I need to put parentheses here, and then I'm going to end it with a period. And I'm just going to copy this line here since I'm not going to be changing much from I'm not going to be changing much. So now elif stat equals rebounds. I'll just copy this in, and then I just need to change this to REB for rebounds. I think it's REB, right? Yeah, it's REB. Okay. And elif stat equal to assists, and then I think it was just called assists. Yep, so then we got the assists there, and then elif stat equals steals, and then do that and put in, I think it was steals, yeah, or it was steal. Okay, and then we know that if none of these, I guess, if statements triggered, then that means the user entered an invalid stat. So I'm just going to say else print the stat you entered is not valid. So let me run this and test it out. So just wait a sec. Slow. Okay. So I typed in Harden wrong there. Harden. Shouldn't matter. I'll type in Durant. Okay, enter the stat. This is space there. So you want to check for Kevin Durant. There shouldn't be a period here. I'll say I want to check his points. So it says Kevin Durant has 2,027 points. Now let's check it with another player just to make sure it works. And a different stat. Curry. I'll say I want his rebounds. Steph Curry has 490 rebounds. So this should work with any stat or any player combination that you enter. So that was it for NBA players. That was the most complex problem that we have on the site. I hope you guys liked all of them.